So all the friends, student friends, welcome on the occasion of National Innovation Day. We are organizing a session of sustainable innovations, and the resource person is Dr. Divya Jindani, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, SSN College of Engineering, Kavalakkam, Tamil Nadu. So I am here to give you brief introduction about Dr. Divya Jindani sir. He is completed his BE Mechanical from Rajasthan Technical University, Kota, then ME in Design Engineering from BIT Mishra, and PhD from National Institute of Technology, Silchar. He is currently working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, SSN College of Engineering, Chennai, Kavalakkam. He has 2 years of industrial experience and more than 5 years of teaching experience and 8 years of research experience. He has his work is mainly in the area of decision support system for green and sustainable technologies, green material, additive manufacturing, and optimization. He has having on his name there are 5 Indian patents are granted and authored near about 7 books in different reputed publications like Springer and Taylor and Francis, etc. He has published many journal articles in international reputed journals and international conference. He has grabbed the award for educational excellence and innovative research award. So such a nice personality is with us on the talk of sustainable innovation, who is having very wide background of research and patents, which are we can call it as the innovations. So I welcome Dr. Divya Jindani on behalf of Spheris College of Engineering and Department of Mechanical Engineering for the nice talk on the National Innovation Day occasion on sustainable innovations. So I will hand over the charge to Dr. Divya Jindani and request him to proceed further.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bhosle, sir, and also thank the entire College of Engineering, Pandharpur, especially Department of Mechanical Engineering, who have given me an opportunity to enlighten the students of your department through my webinar talk on the occasion of National Innovation Day. So basically, my talk will revolve around sustainable innovations, and let's see how since my talk will be particularly dedicated to the students only, so I will try to keep it as simple as possible. And for the students also, good morning to all of you. And also to the faculty members who are there and tuned to this webinar. We'll keep it as simple as possible. I like interactions, so if you keep interactions on the other side possible, then it's not a problem for me. So you can just unmute your mic, and if there is some questions in your mind, you can just ask me then in there itself. Also, after the session, if you feel like, you can ask me the questions. So we'll try to make it some friendly talk with you. So no need to be in some professional kind of mood. So let me begin my talk. This was the brief introduction that was given by Dr. Bhosle. So I am working at SSN College. So currently we are placed at an NIRF ranking at 45, and we have got a lush green campus where students are being motivated to go for sustainable innovation projects starting from first year itself. So we have that culture that have been developed by the management here itself. So I also motivate you, and I think after this talk you will all get motivated and at least have some projects in your college too that will leverage the benefit for you as well as for the college itself. Okay, so I will just start sharing my screen. Bhosle sir, Sachin sir, are you there?
Yes sir, I'm there.
Sir, actually, you have to stop sharing your screen because Then
Ah,
only
okay.
I will be able to.
Yes. Stopped.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hope my screen is visible to all of you. Sachin sir, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Visible.
Okay,
Visible.
so let's start with the session. So I will just give introduction since the topic is sustainable innovation. So we have to first of all see what innovation is actually all about. Okay, then we'll be gradually progressing to what sustainable innovation is and how sustainable innovation is different from innovation. Then we will see that how various organizations around the globe are actually culminating this into their practice, and they are actually leveraging benefits for the social benefits, the environmental benefits, apart from the profit for their own organizations. Then we'll see that how you as a student can contribute towards sustainable innovations, and what basically the barriers that are there for the colleges or the universities across the globe. And then we will see few examples of sustainable innovators in India. India itself is leading the way for sustainable innovations, and then we'll be going for like what are the leading universities across the world that are actually leading in way of sustainable innovations. So what actually innovation is, so let me like it can be a simple definition that it is just the implementation of new ideas, but not only the new ideas, but the ideas that actually add values. So that is what a simple definition is. So you can see there are three parts in this definition, and you can say there are three conditions for this, for any project or product or service that has to be considered to be innovative. First of all, it's to be new. And then so if before going further, means if there is absence of any of this new, done, or value addition, then we cannot say that it's an innovation, in fact. Okay, so new means this is a very critical factor to innovation. So this condition speaks that how fresh is your idea, and in what context you are trying to have an idea that is actually trying to solve your problem. So to innovate, you have to generate, you have to use ideas, and they have to be different from what they have been tried in the particular context. For example, there is some problem and there have been some ideas already that have been tried by the previous innovators. So you have to be somewhat different in approaching that particular problem. So that is what the term is new. So you cannot do things the way they have always been done, and then you can claim yourself to be innovative. Okay, so this is a very critical factor, therefore. So new doesn't mean that no one has ever done it before.
Sir, please start your video.
Okay, sir. Actually, bandwidth is low, but whatever. Yeah. So when I think my video is there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. So you cannot say that until unless you have some new idea to solve it. So it has to be done in the way that it qualifies as a new one. And then there's another factor that is known as the done factor. So what as done factor means, so this actually consists that when you are having the ideas, so you have to now implement it, you have to now do it, you have to execute it. So that is where now you have to hit on the road, you have to come onto the road to execute your idea. So simply having an idea or a new idea will not do. For example, you might be having some new ideas right now, but until unless you come to the road, you hit down the road, that does not itself means that your innovation is now complete. So simply and having a new idea is itself not an innovation. So it is not just that you have conceptualized it, so you have to successfully execute itself also. Then execution is okay, newness in his idea you are having, you want to execute it, that's okay. But now after executing, you have to get the feedback from the customer base that you are actually catering to. So you should have some feedback from them, and you can then add on some new idea that this is what is actually required by the market. You can add that proposition into the new, into the done, and then you can say that that's an overall innovation. So if these three conditions are satisfied, that can be innovative. And if two or three conditions are met, it may be good, but it actually falls short of this innovation proposition. Okay. So what I saying is done plus new, but you are not adding any value. That means that's a novel one, but it may be cool, but that's what it is purpose. So it may be you are adding some new plus done. It's a novelty, but it's not an innovation. Okay. Then you are having new ideas, but you are adding more and more ideas. You are just enhancing your ideas, but you are not implementing it. That means that is just a creative idea, because nothing you have implemented for the market. Then the thing is, there is another component missing, that you might add a value, you might do it, but there is nothing new in it. So that means that is an improvement, that is improvisation of an existing idea or existing pool of idea, you can say. So that means what innovation basically is, it's not an invention. Okay. So like I said, that you are having new and you are adding, you are doing it as well, but that's not invention, that's not creativity, and that's not even improvement. So what innovation actually is, you have to have new plus done means novelty, new and value addition means you are creating the idea, value addition plus doing it, you are making the improvement. So if novelty, you are creating the idea, that is you are having creativity and you are improvising the same, that means all of three when you are pulling together, that actually constitutes what innovation is. Okay. So there should be all these three critical factors for you to be called as an innovator. You cannot suffice that if you're it may be good that if you're deleting one factor, it may be good for you, but the thing is, it may be called an invention, it may call a creativity, it may called as an improvement, but it will not not called as an innovation. So now let us proceed a step ahead, like you know what innovation is all about. And for example, you are having some idea and you are conceptualizing it and you are doing it, you are getting some feedback from the customer base, and then you are enhancing or you are going for value addition, so you are innovating. Okay. But the thing is, this is actually the traditional form of innovation. So by doing this, you might have some product in your mind. For example, if I talk about coffee product, for example, coffee machine is there. Okay. So in coffee machine, there are some coffee capsules that are you're putting in that coffee machine, and you are enjoying a cup of coffee over a time. But the thing is that coffee, and in that way, actually, the company that has actually produced that coffee capsules or that coffee machines, they're actually reaping the economic benefits. I'm talking only the economic benefits. But by developing that coffee capsules, are they actually thinking of the environment? So 29,000 plastic capsules, they are being actually dumped in the landfill sites, and that is you are just deteriorating the environment. So you might have been innovative, that you are having just a coffee capsule machine, that you can have a cafe quality, or you can have a different kind of coffees, and you can enjoy them. But the thing is, you have been now innovative. Okay. For example, there is a coffee capsule, you just dip in, for example, you find a dip is there, coffee dips are there, tea dips are there, you're just dipping it in the cup of coffee. But is it solving the environmental issues? No, it is not solving. It may be innovative, you may be an innovator for that, but you are not a sustainable innovator for it. So for you to be a sustainable innovator, apart from the novelty, the creativity and the improvisation, you also need one more factor to add on. Companies can reap economical benefits, but you should also have long-term social as well as environmental benefits. So not only the economic benefits, but social and benefits as well as the environmental benefits. So you have to create economic profits for the firm, but you also, when you are taking into consideration the social as well as the environmental consideration as well, you can call yourself as a sustainable innovator. Okay. So for going to understand what actually sustainable sustainable innovator is, you should have an understanding of like what sustainability is actually all about. So you can see one graphic on your screen. Here you can see that when you're going for product development, it is not only about profit. Okay, you are not going for the economic viability of the product only, but for the economic viability, what you are having is you are coming and say this is the economic viability. So when you're developing a product, or okay, for example, you want to be profitable, that is you are considering only the economic aspect. So for that you should have a profitable growth, you should be able to manage the risk, and also not only this, but all those investors that are actually pooling in money for your innovative ideas, they should also have the shareholder return. You should be able to return them as well. Then only you can call your business to be some profitable one. So at here you can have creative idea and you can just innovate about your products and you can come into the market and you can reap economic benefits. But as well, if you are looking at the environmental proposition, if you see the environmental propositions, that are several licenses, compliances you need to have. You should be specific to biodiversity management. That means there is no harm to the flora and fauna onto the earth, not to the animal, not to the any existing fauna onto the earth. You should also take into care the emission to the air. Okay, that is what the air quality is all about. What you are actually discharging when you are building a product, what your chemical discharges, or what you are discharging to the water body that is surrounding you. If you're polluting the water body, that means you're harming the environmental as well. So apart from economy, if you're taking environmental proposition into consideration, that means you are going for eco economy. So that is what we call eco economy. That means if you want to build a product, don't exploit the environment, just take into that consideration. So you should have resource efficiency. Then, for example, there are a lot of machines that actually go into the production of your goods or products that you are actually coming into the market. So you should also take care that what energy they are actually consuming. Also, you should not only take the local scenario, but also the global scenario or the global energy issues as well in mind while you are solving this eco economy problem. So when you go with the environmental and economy, that's you are called as eco economy. There is another factor that you need to take into account for you to being a sustainable innovator. That is what I spoke about, being social. So what is social means? You have to respect the individuality. You have to go for job creation. You have to go for, you have to see, you have to build skills. You have to go for outreach programs. You have to see the diversity in culture. You have to go take into account the human rights. So these are all, if you go for this, comes under the social considerations. So if you go only for the environmental economy, it is called eco economy. If you go with the social and environment, that means you are going for socio-environmental, and here you are having health and safety, the legislation, the climate change, the crisis management that you are actually catering to. And then only if you're seeing for socio and economic, that means you are having socio-economic. That means you are going for employment, you are going for training and development. For example, if you're building a product and if it is in your area, you would like to have that the people that are actually skilled, or you can skill them and you can ask them to join your firms and be a part of your profitable business, or a business that is actually catering to wide range of population. So it is better to generate employment. Okay, no issues.
Start, sir, start.
Okay, sir. Okay, so we talked about what innovation is, and I think there was some issues. So now we are back again. So now we shall talk about like how you can be a sustainable innovator, or what sustainable innovation is all about. So till now we have seen that you can be creative, you can improvise your product, and you can have some improvements, you can add some values. But for that you can have some like new ideas, you can come into the market, and you can you can execute those ideas and then you can have a proper feedback on your idea. But in this thing, you are just only taking one thing into consideration, that is your economic benefits. Okay, but what you have ignored, if you have ignored the long-term social and environmental benefits, that is actually the critical part of sustainable innovation. Okay, so apart from considering the economic benefits, you have to consider what the benefits are to the social environmental that is actually surrounding you, and what actually the environmental benefits are there when you are devising your ideas. So you can have economic profits for the fund only if you have some, means you can go beyond some limitations of your profits also if you think in a sustainable manner. So you should not only think in a profitable manner approach, but profit to the social as well as the environmental benefit should also be uh, this consideration should also be taken into. So this is actually I was discussing, so I will just uh, yeah, so here what we were discussing is how, in order to for you to understand like what sustainable innovation is all about, you should have a basic overview of like what sustainability is all about. Okay, so let me erase the ink on this side. Okay, so some from okay. So now up till now, if you are an innovator, you might be thinking of only economic benefits. So if you're talking about economic benefits, that means you're talking about some consistent profitable growth. You're talking about how you're well equipped with managing the risk, and not only with this, how well you are actually returning to your investors, to your shareholders. So if it is an economic model, that means you whatever the investors have pooled in money, you should be able to share the returns in equal proportions or whatever the contract has been with them as well. So if you're only thinking from economic perspective, that means you are only reaping economic benefits. Another thing is, apart from thinking economically, you have to go for environmental considerations as well. So what are environmental considerations? You have to take care of biodiversity. You have to take into consideration that when you are going for any products into the market, whether it is harming any flora and fauna onto this planet, whether it is harming whether it is leading to some poor air quality, whether it is what actually chemicals or what actually discharges are going to your water bodies, are you polluting the water bodies? So that is what you have to take into consideration. That is known as the environmental consideration. If you, apart from economic and environmental, if you also integrate the social factors, for example, are you harming the people that are surrounding you? If you're coming with some product, are you playing with their health? Are you actually not going for educating them? Are you not going for any job creation? So if you only consider environmental and economic aspect, you are going for eco-economy. So that is where you are seeing that how well you are actually going for resource efficiency, how in minimum resources you are getting maximum output, where there are different machineries that are actually producing your goods and services. So you have to see like in what capability, how much energy is being consumed by your machineries. So not only the local consideration, but also the global scenario has to be looked in. So if you are only considering the economy as well as the environmental, that means you are only seeking the economy innovator. Okay, if you're going for environmental as well as socio, so you are a socio environmental innovator. That means you're considering the environmental aspect, you are considering the health and safety of the people, you are taking into consideration the climate change proposition, but you are not seeing for any profit. So that means you are just a socio environmental innovator. If you're going for social as well as only economic, but you are not giving consideration to environmental factor, that means you are being a socio-economic innovator. That means you are taking into consideration, for example, you are setting up one company, you are seeing that it is generating some employment. You are going for training and development of the people that are actually living in your own surrounding. So you are empowering your own people. That is okay. And you are also gaining some profit. You are also paying them some wages. You are gaining some sponsorships from the industries or university funding also. And then that is known as only socio-economic innovator. So if you are being a sustainable innovator, that means you have to take into consideration the environmental, social, as well as the economic considerations for you to be called as sustainable innovator. Okay. Now, obviously, you would have some idea of how traditional innovation actually differs from sustainable innovations. Beyond going that, there is one donut model. So this is known as the donut economic model. Okay. So that what is saying is there are certain boundaries that this donut economic model has set up. So this is your ecological ceiling where you are taking into consideration the environmental. Okay. Then there is some social foundations. Social foundation means energy, water, food, health, education, your peace, justice, legislations, political voice, gender equality. That is what your social foundations are. So if you are overshooting, this is what is overshooting. That means you are going to deplete the environmental. You are disturbing the ecological balance. And if you are going with some shortfalls, if you are not going for some social foundations, you are not considering, or you are not considering the ecological ceilings, that means you are shortfalling that. So in sustainability, you should take into consideration that these ceilings, okay, how far you are there. So you should be actually within this green region. You should not go beyond this, and you should not go beyond this. So this is what the sustainable boundary will be this. So you have to take all this into consideration. So now you will get some basic idea on like what traditional innovation and how it is actually differing you for being a sustainable innovator. So let me see, let us discuss this also. So sustainable innovation, it contributes to sustainable businesses. Okay. So for example, if you're innovating with this, you are going, there are certain businesses that are actually in places. So what they are doing is those businesses, the sustainable innovative businesses, they are not only thinking about their own generation, but they are also thinking about the next coming generation. So that means they are contributing to sustainable businesses. They are not over exploiting the resources. If they are over exploiting the resources or exploiting the resources, that means they are nothing is left for the future generations to innovate themselves for their own generations. So that is where it is catering to the sustainable businesses. So this is the one proposition that actually brings you can have on the table of some sustainable innovators. So you're not actually compromising the needs of your future generation. So companies that are actually innovating sustainability, they not only think about the profits, but they actually move beyond the profits. So they actually thinking and investing for the future, not only for the present, and not only taking into consideration the economic benefits. Then it requires actually system thinking. So that means the businesses have not you should not only look into your own firm or organization. You have to consider yourself as a small as a you should also consider the each and every part that are actually encompassing you, okay, that is actually surrounding you. So if you're only think about your organization, that means you are just not looking like you're not taking into consideration the social as well as the environmental consideration. So you should have a good you should have a good understanding of what are the expectations of the from the environment, or from the environmentalist, or from the social communities. Okay. Sustainable innovations must be embedded into firm's culture. So the traditional innovation, what it is doing is, you might see some R&D facilities might be there, and they are trying to innovate over there, but they are not actually uh, having this sustainability mindset into there. So uh, if you want to, if sustainable if you want to innovate, you should have the right mindset. Okay, you should be first of all develop that mindset that you are progressing in a way that it is, you are taking into consideration the socio-economic as well as the environmental prospects. Okay. So how you can innovate sustainably? So I will just draw down the graphic. So how you can work out, or how you can go with sustainable innovations. So either you can develop novel products and services, but the thing is, if you're developing only novel products and services, you might be called as only an innovator. sorry, as an innovator, yeah, but you will not be called as a sustainable innovator. So what is this? Can anyone from the audience, what is this? Yeah, anyone from the audience, what is this? This is actually from one of the startups, and if I say it, so this is a BioBean. BioBean is one of the, I think, British-based. They are the startups. So what BioBean is doing is, whatever the coffee waste is there, that is a coffee waste that is going to the landfill. They are collecting that coffee waste. They are converting that coffee waste into the coffee logs. So these are coffee logs, or the coffee pellets. These are the coffee pellets. Now, what is the use of converting the coffee waste to a coffee log and to a coffee pellet? Yes. Anyone out there in the audience? Why to go for a coffee waste to convert into a coffee log and to a coffee pellet? What you can do with this? So BioBean, what they are actually doing is they are using this as a power source. So instead of to power their double-decker buses. So instead of like having a coal-fired energy generation, they are using it to generate energy. These pellets. So in a way, this BioBean enterprise, they have actually gone about beyond thinking of their profits, and they have actually gone for some environmental propositions as well. So when they have gone with this environmental propositions, so they have reaped an enormous profit. So it's a $10 billion I think dollar enterprise now. So either you can develop novel products and services. So this is one of the proposition that BioBean is doing. There is another thing that you can put in. You can change the operational process. So this is a smartphone, and this is actually Fairphone. This is one of the Dutch companies, okay, and that is a Dutch social enterprise, you can say. So what this company is doing is they are changing the see, whatever the things are going, they are not innovating about the product. All the same they are doing, but they are actually judiciously mining the each of the components that actually go into the development of this smartphone, okay. So they are taking into consideration the energy intensive processes, and they are coming about with some product that is this existing product only, but they have changed their operations, okay. For example, there are various operations that goes into a smartphone. So they have changed there, they have made an overall swift change, and they have went sustainable in their approach. And due to this, I think about they have seen that they are actually leveraging 80% advantage to the environment. So not only by developing novel products or services you can sustainably innovate, but you can also innovate, you can be a sustainable innovator if you're changing the existing operational process. So like 80% of the emissions they are actually able to cut down because they have changed their operational processes. They have either gone for some they have gone for the repairs, the upgraded they have made the upgraded versions very easier to come about there. In a sense, you can say they have just reduced the e-waste. They are using the they are focusing more on the recyclable materials, or you can say they have one companies, that is Fairphone is one social enterprise that is actually reducing the e-waste, okay. So this is how sustainable innovation can work. You can innovate about new ideas that is actually taking care of your environment, but also you are going for some operational processes maybe. So why you are required to innovate sustainably? Is there anything? So yeah, obviously when you are having like sustainable mindsets, so and when there is a business that are actually proceeding in a sustainable way, so obviously they will be able to attract some you can say talented employees within their own companies, okay. So when they are able to employ more means they are able to attract the talented employees, that means they are actually going for futuristic growth, futuristic profits, not only in terms of economy but also social as well as environmental benefits, because such people with only thing in not only the economic perspectives, but they will come about with some solutions that are actually beneficial to environment as well as the social surroundings. So the companies that consider stakeholders more patents. And not only the if you're innovating about a product, you can have a patent. The companies can have patent, but you should always keep in mind that they should be impactful. What impact it has created in your life. So uh, for example, if you are going with a patent, and you should see that if you are if you are going into the market with that particular product, then what impact it has actually created in your surrounding. And that is actually what then your patent can be impactful. So you should think into that perspective, and then that means you are actually innovating sustainably. So not only creating the impact of one own self, but also for the people that are actually surrounding. So that means if you are a sustainable innovator, you are thinking wisely of the people benefits, the environmental benefits. You are just you are thinking of creating jobs. You are thinking of creating jobs for your own population, and you are going for you are seeking your environmental considerations as well. So definitely, if the companies that are actually sustainable in their approach, so they are more resilient to their competitors, because this is a turbulent world. You might have seen this COVID pandemic. So you can see there have been various companies or some of the businesses that have been shut down, unfortunately, due to such turbulent incidences that actually goes around the world, and we are not. This is uncertain thing. So those that are actually had some sustainable orientation, that means they were more resilient throughout the crisis, and you can say that they experienced less loss in their profitability or whatever it is. They were able to sustain through this pandemics. So how do we make innovation sustainable? So like I said, you can go for operational optimization. For example, the company, that is the Dutch company Fairphone, they went for the operational optimization. That means they went for eco-efficiency. Next thing is organizational transformation. That means you should have right set of mindset available with you. You should create the shared values. You should be fundamental. There should be fundamental shift in the purpose of the firm. So there should be some organizational transformation if they are doing it in a traditional way, and if they want to move it in a sustainable way. Then systems building. So there should be some societal change also reflected. So novel products or services, or whatever the business models are there, you should see that what good it is doing for the people around the world. So for example, if you talk about we will see a few examples down the line where we will see that how they are actually innovating sustainably. So you have to extend beyond the firm to drive these institutional changes, so that you can take into consideration the societal changes. So you have to actually go for new market opportunities. You have to see like what all can leverage benefits for that can do good for the that can be done by your new products. Okay, so these are the three things that can actually help in innovating sustainably, we can say. So then we have for our country, if we speak about, so India is leading the way for sustainable innovations, and also how India is actually leading the way for some sustainable innovation. So if you take about few examples, I will just I think most of you might be familiar because this relates to your have you heard about this Mandeshi Foundation? Mandeshi Foundation, anyone? Anyone who has heard about Mandeshi for this foundation? Anyone? I thought that it might be familiar to you. This is a Mandeshi Foundation. So what this picture is actually revealing? What this picture is actually revealing? What do you understand from this picture? That you can see a total woman empowerment is there. So this is actually an example from Maharashtra itself, and they have actually the connected the various professionals within rural India. Okay, so those who are actually working in the fields, in your poultry, they have connected various businesses, and even the local millers, the blacksmiths. So that is what Mandeshi Foundation is doing. So they are connecting the street vendors, and they are connecting the micro farmers as well. So people, they are actually handling things this traditional way. So it has been done through tradition generations only. So there is there is a village builder, that is I think Kantabai Saluke, and she came up with some unusual request, that she wants to open a bank account that can actually help her in some money that she requires for doing some everyday, like money every day, uh, to buy what, to buy some tarpaulin sheet or to shelter her children during some upcoming monsoon. Okay, so this is what the birth was there. So this was like a bold idea by Manse. So there were some problems, and this person Kantabai Saluke, she wanted to save about like rupees 10 every day. Okay, and like if she wants to save it, she should be like want to keep that saving in some the nearest bank was not in a mood actually to allow because to allow her to open a bank account with some meager amount of rupees like 10 per day. So there was like no bank for her, for Kantabai Saluke. So this is what they came up with the idea of novel proposition, Mandeshi Foundation. So it it looked like they that there's some lost battle for Kantabai Saluke until that she found some help from some unexpected quarters. So Chetna Galasina, I think she was new to this, and she have been arrived at a village from actually nearby Mumbai. Okay, so and she used to stay there. So she actually decided to push back on behalf of Kantabai Sanuke. So if like banks were refusing to open the accounts for us, then she thought of some possible solution to start a bank herself. Chetna Galasina, and most of the women, they were actually the street vendors themselves. So they were actually involved in some daily businesses, like I told about Kantabai Saluke, and she actually came in some TED talk in 2018. So she applied for some banking license, and uh, there were some initial attempts failed for her, and since because there were no actually co-applicant with Chetna Galasina, and so she applied for this, and she was undeterred actually, and she went for the uh, group of women. She started literating them, and uh, start educating them about mathematics, this finance and all. And this time, when she went for the license, there were some co-applicants with her, and then she went ahead and got some that banking license. So that was, I think, in 1997. So this is one of the story that why India is actually at the forefront and it is leading sustainable innovation. So this is one of the actually interesting example, and that is where you can have like woman empowerment. So this is I think in 1997. So that means the right mindset. This lady would have she would have just gone back. She would have not cared about the Kantabai Saluke, but she cared. She wanted to push back, and she wanted to solve the problem of such street vendors who actually want to save some money and want to deposit in some banks such a meager amount. So that is where so they are solving the social problems, the social benefits. Okay, so this is one proposition for this. So there is one bank, you can just Google it down, that is Mandeshi Bank. So Mandeshi Bank is the first bank for and by a rural for rural women, and now it has like more than 1 lakh account holders, and uh, it has been able to loan more than $50 million to that through its banking proposition. So this is, you can say this is social activism, and it is actually blended with entrepreneurship. Okay, so entrepreneurship is there, but they are actually benefiting the rural women in that sense. So that is where this is one, if you're improving women, if you're going for social activism, that is where you are innovating sustainably. So Mandeshi Bank is there in Maharashtra. Then you can say the frugal innovators. So why in India is actually full of some frugal innovators. You might have heard of as like basically if you are thinking in a resource efficient way, that means you're optimizing the resources to be used for your innovation, and that means you are using them judiciously. And so you can say these are like disruptive social entrepreneurs. So they are actually breaking the barriers, the previous example that I talked about. Then there is some frugal innovators, that means you are doing better with less. This is also one of the books that is actually authored by Navi, I think Rajdoi or Jagdeep Prabhu, and that is you are doing better with some less. So they said that India is having some unique position. That means they are having some innovators. They are using the resources to means less resources to innovate more. Okay, so that means you are having less natural resources available with you, and you are sharing it, and you are coming up with the product in a sustainable manner. That means you are having frugal innovators. So uh, let me come up with some examples. So I think, what is this, anyone? This is most of the, I think, familiar examples. What you are looking on your screen? Anyone? Anyone? Or what are you looking at? So this is actually Jaipur Foot. Okay, and this is one of the success story of the frugal innovators. So apart from like being a very important consideration, they are actually going for its development in a sustainable manner. So they are impacting the lives in a huge way, but sustainably. Okay, so you can see they are having wooden interiors. They are using some rubber protectives or sponge rubber protectives. So also their product, if you have a like a price comparison, so Jaipur Foot, it actually cost about $20 in comparison to other competitors or prosthetic limb. If you see for a US market, anything like $5,000 to $15,000 it is coming. But you see how these frugal innovators came out with their idea, and they are developing this and impacting. So this is why they are able to impact large population. Why? Because not only they are they are going for sustainably, means they are looking for economic prosperity, viability as well. $20 in comparison to $5,000 to something like $15,000. So this is one of the success story. So uh, you can see like three hallmarks are there for any frugal innovator. So significantly lower price will be there than the whatever the existing product is there. So that is what lower price is there. Then they will obviously have an efficient delivery process, so that they can enable the products to reach to a wider audience in a very like short span of time, farther, faster, and economically. And they are actually focused on overlooked consumers, the consumers that actually have not been catered. Okay, so that is where the overlooked consumers that they are catering to. Another example, anyone with this? I think you might be familiar with this example. Anyone? What's this?
Dabewala.
Very good. Yeah. So this is very prominent examples that actually comes down for some like when they are being a frugal innovators. So it's a flexible innovation. Anyone can wants to speak on them. Means what's it's all about. So it's actually a market shift they have actually created, and they are actually finding their acceptance. You can see the woman, and this woman is actually the Queen Maxima of the Netherlands. So you can see that how means they are creating the impact. Okay, so when they are going, they are developing sustainably, or they're impacting their impact. See the impact. Uh, they're creating the impact to the Western world. The Queen of Netherlands appreciated the Dabbawalas, who are also known as the tiffin carriers. So this is what actually a motivation lies for you. So you should always try to actually impact in a huge way. People should come and follow you, and they must be like we call one term in India that is known as Jugaad. Okay, so I think most of you might be familiar with the term that is known as a Jugaad. So that is where we are like having a pool of like frugal innovators. So Jugaad thrives environmentally in an environment which is actually harsh, and I think they are having like less economically they are like unstable as well, and but they are actually trying to impact the society in a whole way. So you can say that there are various jugaad, like in if I talk about like uh, uh, if you go with the wooden planks, okay, these are actually powering your motorbikes or whatever I talked about, the dabbawalas, or some examples. So uh, this is where you just going for, like, India is having a bunch of frugal innovators. There is another example I would like to give you of frugal innovation. What is this, anyone? The name is there, I think. This is a good example of a frugal innovation. Anyone?
This is the maybe box to store the fruits.
Yeah. So fine, excellent, Sachin sir, excellent. And as sir told, I would just enhance his view on this. So this is actually Mitti Cool refrigerator. Okay, so this is a Mitti Cool refrigerator, and you can see that if you this is having very low cost, and if you go into a rural population with this will have no harm to the environment. This is not consuming no power. This is a clay cool, Mitti Cool, clay devised refrigerator. You can keep your fruits, vegetables refrigerated all the time through this device. What's the needs of? There's no need of electricity. So see, means this will also cost very less. This is all being developed. I hope the screen is visible again.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So here actually we were discussing about some frugal innovations. Okay, so let me maximize it. Yes, so this is what, as Sachin sir told. So this is one box where you can, this is actually out of box thinking. So this is actually out of box thinking, and where you are having clay cool, like mitti cool. This is what one of the, like, you're thinking outside the box to have such innovations. So not only by coming out with some like huge ideas, instead you just devise some, come up with some ideas that actually can help the rural population, or your means, so not only rural but also the population surrounding you in a sustainable manner. So as Dabbawalas had impact of their sustainable proposition, this one is also having its own impact. So that is what a frugal innovator: less resources, no need of any refrigerants, no need of any powering it. You can just deploy it, and you can use it for like storing your fruits and vegetables. So this is where this is one of the propositions where you can see that India is leading the way in terms of sustainable innovations. Another thing is there are like people who are actually defining stereotypes. So it's a proud like for example, if you speak of various people, they have actually left their corporate career and they have shown their passion to pursue organic farming. So that is, they are defining all types of stereotypes. So according uh, there might be some people's for example, if I talk about Anish Shah, he's actually proud Mumbaikar, and he has actually left his lucrative corporate offer, and um, he has actually come out with his organization, and he has shown interest in organic farmer as an entrepreneur. So he actually grows close to 20 sustainable crops on 30 acre of farm, and he runs a farm to table venture that is known as Earth Harvest. Earth Harvest is one kind of venture you can search on, and is running on that. So here actually customers are sent weekly crates of fresh organic and natural produce such as groundnuts, wheat, turmeric. So that is why you have to defy all types of stereotypes. So whether it is some people or some dabbawalas of Mumbai or some shopkeeper in New Delhi, they are actually using washing machine to churn the lassi. I don't know whether you are familiar with the word lassi. So they are using washing machine to churn the lassi. So this is what like this, and also they are having in this kind of there you are having investment from like-minded companies. So they are actually attracting, or they are appreciating the spirit of frugal and sustainable innovations. For example, if I talk about there is a concept of no frills hospital. Okay, so no frills hospital, what they're doing, this concept. So this Malaysian healthcare giant is there, that is known as Columbia Asia is there. That is one giant Malaysian, I think, healthcare giant is there. So they have actually set up no frills hospital. So this is one concept in across 11 Indian cities, and they are actually providing various services at a very low cost. Okay, so for example, anything that whatever the services they are doing is they have set up such an arrangement that they can cater to wider audiences, or the customers that cannot find those health profits to be affordable at all. So there is another Mumbai-based medical devices from Biosense. There is Biosense, that is another startup, I think, that is Mumbai based. It has secured a funding of I think $100,000 and from global investors. That what they are doing is they are producing, they are eliminating the need to draw the blood to screen for anemia, or blood draw based devices to screen for diabetes. So these are developing such devices, and you can see that when people across the globe, they see such kind of innovations, they are trying to pool in money, they are trying to come with you. So you are no longer economically unstable, so you have to create the impact. When you are creating the impact, there is no proposition of like economic instability will not come, because the people might come with you, they might actually venture with you. So this is where India actually is leading the way of sustainable innovations. Okay, so for sustainable innovation, what you can do is you should have a right mindset. Okay, that means there should be problem solving ability, and you should be able to think in a way that actually you should have social skills. You should be able to negotiate, you should have a dialogue, because if you are going for a social innovation, then that can only come if you are just interacting with the people for which you are innovating. So you should have well negotiation, you should be well acquainted with dialogues, you should have collaboration capabilities, and then there should be belonging to a living system, that you want, actually you should have an attitude that yes, I want to do the benefit for the people, and you should have a whatever the commitment you are actually providing to your people, that should have an emotional quotient available with it. So confidence should be there, and there should be hope, adaptability, flexibility, and there should be the capacity to deal with uncertainty as well as the changes. So these are actually, you should have a sustainable mindset. Okay. So what new generation of students can do for inculcating this sustainable mindset? So you should start from your transportation to your college. For example, you are using a bike. Don't use a bike. You can go walking by yourself, or you can innovate in such a proposition that you can pull in the transportation. So that's where you can come up with some sustainable proposition. Even in your college premises, you can have some, if you want to go about in your college, restrict the vehicles over there in your universities or in the area around you. Instead, you can just ask them to go with some, like you can keep bicycles or some EV bicycles. One frugal innovator I just came across through LinkedIn was there is who actually is innovating about this bicycle. He is actually having one just box. You just fit that box into bicycle, and your bicycle actually goes electric. So this is where they are actually creating the impact onto the people who are actually cannot afford your EV vehicles that are very right now. They are in the early stage of developments and early penetration into the Indian market. So just they have innovated that person. Sorry, I don't remember his name. Sorry for that. So they have innovated in a way that just you fit a battery, you fit one box, and then you can make your vehicle an electric one. So this is where on this you should be interested in sustainability projects. Okay, there might be various waste, like anti-waste projects. There are certain ideas you should always come in your mind. So here in our college campus itself, right from when students enter from starting from their undergraduate level, that is from first year, we are having some proposition of internally funded student projects where they are asked, where the UG students, right from their starting of their engineering, they are asked to come out with some novel ideas, and then the management is funding them with their ideas so that they can actually go about with their ideas. So this is where you can come up with sustainability projects, and you can go about with this your sustainability project ideas, and you can innovate sustainably through the support from your universities. Then obviously use less water. You should have a habit of being like, if you are energy conservative person, then obviously you will take care of the fans or the ACs or the equipment that they are running, but you are not actually using them. So this is what is this. This is one of the concept in Berlin. Anyone? This is what you can see on your screen. This is one of the concept, and I think this concept is there in Berlin, and this is open refrigeration, opened refrigerators in Berlin. So they're actually you can they have like a commercial space for the refrigerator, where you can access the refrigerator 24/7, and this is actually open for all the citizens. So if you want to keep your stuffs, and if you don't want to have a refrigerator, like for example, if you are pulling some vehicle to come about, instead of going on an individual bike, you are having a public transport in place. So this is a public refrigerator in place, and where like instead of purchasing a refrigerator yourself, you can rent a space in refrigerator, and you can put your stuffs in that, and you can use it whenever it is needed. So this is what simple one you can means. This actually does not require any scientific or some rocket knowledge for you. So you just have a right mindset, like what you can come. So it's pooling refrigerator. You can see a concept in Berlin. So there are various other ideas like this. So they have been recently joined by others to pull in their novel ideas. So this is what one proposition is. So, but they have to go with the operations, how they are actually arranging the spaces for the people. So you can rent in the space within the refrigerator now. Okay. So there is another picture on your screen. So what is this? This is a bread actually, and bread wastage is one of the primary concern, I think, um, in Western countries, and there is a lot of waste that actually goes into the surrounding through this breads. And so there's a novel app that students of a university have come up, and this is known as a breading app. So there is a breading app. So they actually collect this unsold bread, and they volunteer, and they make the distribution to the poor, like 6 million poor people of poor. This is actually a startup in Italy. They have been actually benefited through this bread waste. So they have actually tested. Testing is one critical aspect, and brainstorming is another critical aspect. So they had the attitude. They wanted to not only reduce the food waste, but they are actually helping the poor also in another way. So they're actually creating the impact. So I think they came up with their idea, and they showcased in some expo in around 2015, and then since then they have just developed one app. That's it. So in our case, for example, we are having newspaper waste. We gave it to some kabadi wala. E-waste is there. We gave it to some kabadi wala. So now some aggregators are there who are actually facilitating through some apps. Okay, you just need to book in. You have to also take into account the regular kabadi walas that are actually coming to your house. You cannot destroy their business as well. So you can aggregate them. This is like one of so they are actually taking the bread waste. So this is another example of like sustainable innovation businesses. Okay. So for you as a like students, you can innovate sustainably, but there are certain barriers for, like, if you see the universities or the across the world that they are actually facing. So what can these like, if you speak of these barriers, what all are those barriers? So for universities, that maybe that there is a lack of specific working groups or committees and sustainability offices. Okay, so you might be having your own mindset, and but it may not work in a sustainable oriented way. And for example, not only your mindset, but you also require the help of self-help groups, the NGOs. So this network is required. So maybe the universities are lacking in might lack in that front. Also, you require cultural and behavioral change in your mindset. So when you are going, so you should be able to develop, the universities have to develop that culture or that behavior. As I talked about my example of my own university, how we are developing the culture and behavioral change for sustainable innovations. Then there might be some lack of financial resources. Definitely, this is one of the major constraints, the economic constraints that actually can fund your ideas. There might be lack of engagement between the municipalities, between the companies, between the other universities, because not by only innovating with your universities will not do. You might be having some infrastructure available with you to innovate and product, but you might have to go to other colleges, other universities, other state of the centers to use their facilities and to innovate it completely. Municipalities should help you, might be there. There should be different stakeholders. Companies should, you showcase your ideas to companies. Companies should come and fund in your ideas. So you should have that that infrastructure, that network should be created by university. And then lack of reporting and accountability mechanisms. There is another barrier to innovation and sustainability at the universities. So there are some like leading universities that are actually uh, uh, leading the way for sustainable innovations, cutting across these barriers that these are actually only some of the barriers, and these are not my own views, but has been published in one of the recent studies. So there are certain universities across the globe that are actually helping the students with the right mindset to sustainability, to innovate sustainably. So for example, if I talk about few examples, there is one example like Portland State University from Oregon. So they are having sustainable initiatives and activities across the campus, and they're having three main channels for that. So uh, there are certain institutes for sustainable solutions. There is a central hub for them that actually promotes you can have hackathons. They are having hackathons in place, so that actually works continuously within the institute. They actually create the environment for the students that can actually engage with for some sustainable innovations. Then University of Georgia Athens, so that is, they are actually going for like for example trash on a beach. Okay, so there is an app for that. So students on that university have come for an app for that, and that is app we cannot live without. Marine debris tracker, where they're actually able to track the debris or the waste, and they are actually able to collect that waste, and they are actually able to report it to the other um, stakeholders that are actually involved in it, where they can collect and they can make a beach a more sustainable part. So data is easy to upload and it can be downloaded even in Excel or analysis. So you just require the right mindset. Okay. And then another university, if I talk about, so that's a university of Wisconsin, Stevens Point. So biofuels. So they are working on sustainable packaging. Okay, so they are taking care of agriculture and forest residues, and they are going for sustainable packaging. And then you have like University of Vermont. So this is actually going for they are having their own school. They have set up a different school, that is the School of Natural Resources, and that School of Natural Resources is housing eco machines. Only eco machines are there, and that machines are actually mimicking your natural environment. Okay, they are mimicking microorganisms to treat the building wastewaters. Okay, so they're mimicking the aquatic life. And so this is University of Vermont. And then University of California, San Diego, in California. So there has actually entire energy innovation park is there, and around 2.8 around approximately 3 megawatts of fuel cell or sun tracking photovoltaic arrays, and they're actually powering their institute in that proposition. So that is where they are actually leading the way in sustainable ways. So these are actually the schools that are actually leading the way in sustainability innovations. So this is why if you come, if the universities are ready, and if the students are having the right mindset, and if you are having that confidence and that encouragement that you want to have a greater impact onto the society, then obviously you will be able to uh, uh, you will be actually come up with some sustainable innovations, not only innovations, but sustainable innovative ideas. And that mindset is actually required. So you can see a common example that actually I talked about of Mandeshi Bank, that is in Maharashtra, Dabbawalas in Maharashtra, then various peoples that are actually cutting across their stereotypes, like Biosense Enterprise I talked about. So once you have an impactful idea, people are ready to invest in, and so in that way you can be commercially or economically viable also. So not only being innovator, you should be sustainable innovator. So as a part of my research work also, I have been doing various sustainable innovative innovations or sustainable innovation research in that account. So that is where I got actually motivated by seeing the problems of the people that they are actually facing. Okay, so you should also, it's the better way to have a greater idea. You converse with people, you have a dialogue with people, you communicate with them, you collaborate with them. You make themselves your stakeholders. So this is what, for example, there is one micro credit banks. For example, if in some rural area, if people want to have like solar photovoltaic, so it is very means hard for them because they are not financially stable. So what these people are, the microcredit banks, they are facilitating them with some loans so that they can have this infrastructure in place. They can use it because there is intermittent power supply in rural areas. So with this microgrid propositions or with some financial microcredit banks, you can actually power your own community. You can create job empowerment. So you should always think means while you are innovating, see, life is one, and this is my own perception that once you should make impactful life, you should contribute impactfully to the environment, because you will not get back this life again. So that is my own perception, and you should inculcate that habit. uh, I don't know, I think most of you people might have walked seen like Shark Tank India. So that is one like program that used to run, and we saw that one Kamlesh Jugadu from Maharashtra itself, who came up with some novel proposition, and see the impact he was able to create, that he was able to convince one of the investor over there, and he got that funding. So in agri startups also, there are a lot of things that are going on. You can think of a lot of things that farmers are actually facing. You can go about with their innovations, and you can come about with some impactful innovations for them, so that you can help the farmers that are there, that are working. So so that is why you should always inculcate mindset. First of all, mindset is required. Okay, so thank you all for your patience hearing. Thank you, students, and thank you all the faculty members who are there, who are I have tried to make it interesting, but I don't know how interesting it went with you all. So uh, my best suggestion, innovate, but innovate in a sustainable way, contribute socially as well as environmentally. So thank you once again, all of thank Department of Mechanical Engineering, College of Engineering Pandharpur, for providing me this opportunity to enlighten your students. Thank you once again.
Okay, good morning. Divya sir, please stay. I will also
Yeah.
talk two innovations which I read in the newspaper, so that I
Sure,
will
sir.
share it with the students. Now,
Yes, sir.
one innovation I read yesterday only, that one poor woman was there. She was staying with her father in Mumbai. Her father was auto rickshaw driver. Then that girl has been married with one person, Triveni Kumar from Uttar Pradesh. Then she went to her husband's home. Then there also he is peasant only. Peasant means Marathi it is called as Mazur. Therefore again they came back to Maharashtra in Nashik district, Evla Taluka, and both of them started working in the farm or wherever they are getting the work. Then they are in the process. 4 children were there. Now you are knowing when persons will increase, persons are getting increased in the home. It is very difficult to run the home. Miss or whatever our day-to-day activities are there, it is not possible to survive. We want or we require money for each and everything. Therefore, what that woman has done, woman has made kawa. Kawa, Divya sir, what in English it is called? From milk, that product we are getting.
Khowa, you call it khowa.
Kawa. In Marathi it's called kawa, and in
ah.
English also it is that same word is there. KHAV.
Yes.
Therefore, she started making that kawa from milk. Earlier, then her husband is going to that different markets or that local markets, wherever you are knowing that weekly market is there nearby our villages. Therefore, they started selling Then earlier they got 100 rupees, 200 rupees. It's like that they have started their earning. And afterwards now what they have done, or what that woman, on that man, Triveni Kumar, they purchased that huge amount of milk daily, maybe 10 liter or 15 liters. And they have started making khawa. And what they have done, they have started selling it in nearby villages by going to each and every home. And like that they have sustained, and now they are owning one farmland in that Evla district. They have their own home. Also, I will tell, in the meanwhile, accident took place there of that Triveni Kumar. Then that woman itself, she went, she is now going to the different villages and she is selling that khawa. Means like this innovation is there. Is it correct, Divya sir?
Well, you are absolutely correct, Sachin sir, absolutely right. So such kind of
And
people are there in your
another
society.
example I will tell, sir. 1 minute. In Nashik also, that before 15 or before 20 days, I read that news in the Sakal newspaper that one woman was there in Nashik district in Sinnar Taluka. She married with another person. Then same condition, financial condition was very weak. She is going to clean the pots and she is going to cook in another's home. It's like this, they are surviving their life or running their life. In the meanwhile, she started selling chakli in what it is called in English, Divya sir? Chakli or no, in Diwali you are making that.
In Diwali we make out of round this
yes,
snake like
yes.
thing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Then like this means they have started selling that chakli in the nearby households wherever she is going to clean that pots. She is asking that please take our chakli. Then people liked that chakli, and now that business has gone to so large that she is now the 4 persons are employed there, and her chakli is going to the at other places, that is in foreign countries also. It's like, and they are owning one beautiful house on Gangapur Road in Nashik. Gangapur Road is very high esteemed places there. Means what we call it, Divya sir?
Posh area, that is very posh area.
In posh area they have constructed their home. It's like that. You can also think what it could be for us to develop, so that this is also one type of innovation, whether it is correct or not.
Yes, definitely, sir.
It is not that only that product we have to manufacture and that is innovation. Whatever day-to-day activities we do, that is innovation.
See, execution is also innovation. So if you are executing it in a very proper way, then that chakli went to foreign country. If they would not have executed in a proper way, then chakli would have remained in Nashik only.
Whether
so that is where
hello Divya sir, whether it is possible for you to read Marathi?
No sir, I actually sorry sir.
Otherwise I will share that both links to you. Okay.
Yes.
I am thankful to Divya sir for sharing his valuable thoughts. He has given what is meant by innovation first of all, then what is by sustainable innovation. We have to consider each and every aspect: environmental, social, economic. Then he has given many examples, the Bewala or that shoes where it is manufacturing in Jaipur.
Jaipur food, sir. Yes, that is an example of Jaipur food.
Then that mitti wala box, and that coffee. What is that coffee?
Coffee beans is there. That is across the world. That is
coffee beans.
British and
like that. Many examples he has given, and these innovations are still there in the market, and that's why it is called as sustainable innovations. Therefore, I am thankful to Divya sir. Once again, I request Divya sir that please accept again our invitation to share your research, whatever research you are doing to our faculty members. Thank you very much.
Delighted to share. Thank you all for your time and bearing me in the meantime. So if any student who wants a faculty member who wants to discuss anything, you are open for discussion. These are my profile links, and apart from this is my contact details. So if you want to get in touch, After that, after this webinar, you can get in touch with me also. Okay. So thanks all of you, and thanks for
One minute,
inviting
Divya,
me.
sir. Hello,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
I will take
Yeah.
screenshot from mobile.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so
Can
much.
we end?